Hello, if you're new to my channel, I am Anthony Bailey. I am a proud husband, father, runner, the co-owner of the charity organization Run for Grace, and I am also a survivor of childhood domestic violence. And in this video, I'm going to take you on some very significant places in my life. So behind me, that is one of the first houses I grew up in. The earliest memory I have as a child. It looks a little bit different than it did back then. Anyways, when we first moved in, it was brand new. My stepdad had a good job at a local aerospace company because this is an aerospace community. My mom stayed home with my sister, or me and my two sisters. Nice green grass, brand new cars. It was kind of nice, you know. But despite my stepdad having like these intense rage issues, he'd still. When he came home from work, it would always be like a very tense feeling in the house. And so as time went on, he and my mother had drug addictions, and the drug addictions got worse, and eventually he stopped going to work. He would start saying that there's people watching him all the time, and he would be searching for them, and eventually that turned to my mother and my sister and I, and he thought that we were part of it, and that turned into him beating us, physically and mentally abusing us, just non-stop. It went on for years. And but if you see, there's a tree on the top there. That's a willow tree. That was my mother's. My mother really loved that, and I would climb that tree all the time just to kind of get away from things. But eventually, the nice green grass we had turned brown, and the new cars went away because he wasn't going to work. So ended up losing that job. I still remember some people come into the house and talking to him about that job, like they were his bosses or something. Like they had to come to the house and ask him, "Hey, you gonna come to work or not?" Which was very odd. I thought that was odd back then. That'd be odd now. And I remember, it looks much smaller now, but it seemed like the walk home from school, because I'd get dropped at the bus stop and I'd walk home from school, which seemed like a long walk. I was little back then, but I would always get to this corner up here and approach that front door and always be nervous about what I was going to approach on the other side of that door. It's just a very dark place in there. I just imagine I remember it being very dark in there all the time, and him keeping my mother in the bedroom for hours and hours, and I'm sure you had the idea what he was doing to her in there, but she had her issues and she couldn't protect us. She was depressed and had her drug and alcohol addictions, but eventually it all came to a head, and we ended up losing that house. But a lot of dark memories in there, a lot of dark stuff. In this neighborhood is where I spent the remainder of my childhood, teenage years. the trailer park. And had some good times here. Oh my gosh, this little place behind me here used to be a park. That grass wasn't there before. And there used to be basketball courts. And we would play basketball. I mean, there's so many kids in this neighborhood that it'd always keep me occupied and keep me away from the house. But we would play, oh man, football, basketball, soccer. Of course, I wasn't good at any of these sports. You know, so I was always the little tiny, scrawny kid. But we had a good time. And a lot of good people in this neighborhood I used to hang out with. That really, I felt so blessed. Well, I feel so blessed that I had them to be with back then, because they were like my saviors to keep me away from all the chaos going on at my own house. Some good memories here. Good memories, good people. And this is the street I used to live on for about 6-7 years. The trailer that we lived in isn't there anymore. That's a different one, but it's similar, about the same. A lot of unpleasant moments in that place. That's when the drug addictions of both my mom and my stepfather were just at their peak. None of them were working. I mean, we were on welfare, so they spent all their money on booze and cigarettes and drugs, and so there's hardly any food in the house. So that's why I was so thankful to have so many friends around here, because I used to go to their house and eat, and their parents, I think their parents recognized that I was going through some stuff, so they would feed me. Very thankful for that. But yeah, there was hardly a month that went by that the cops would not come knocking on the door. And there was such the feeling of the safety, because you could, I still remember hearing their footsteps go up the steps, and you could hear the radio, that the police have. And at that moment, I thought, oh my gosh, we're safe again. And sometimes they would arrest my stepdad, and sometimes they wouldn't. But either way, once they showed up, that would kind of cease the chaos that was going on at that moment. It's embarrassing, because you were known as the kid in the neighborhood that had those parents. The people on that street, everybody knew you. They already knew what was going on, and you always got those looks, like that poor kid look. I just, I know they didn't mean any harm from it, but it's still and back then I was super shy, and I didn't want anybody to know what was going on in that house, even though everybody was aware of it. But at 18, I got a job and moved on out. But before we head out, I'm going to show you something cool. Okay, so this is at the end of the street I lived on, and behind me is the desert on the other side of the wall. Well, it's not there anymore, but us neighborhood kids actually cleared out a section of that and made a sandlot for baseball. We cleared out all the weeds. We would take like a tire for first base. We would find little things to use as the bases, and man, I spent hours out here making these. But it was cool. It was a fun experience. But I wonder how long it's been since that's been kind of gone. I appreciate you hanging out with me for this little tour of my past. We've got one more stop to go. At the age of 44, there is rarely a day that goes by where I am not reminded of the trauma I experienced here and here. But I do not let that paralyze me. Instead, I use my experiences to help others who are currently going through similar situations or who have. That is why on Friday, March 5th at 8 p.m., I'm going to be starting the first leg of the 4x4x48 challenge. I'm going to be running 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. That is a total of 48 miles throughout my hometown, the Antelope Valley, the same place where I experienced years of physical and mental abuse. I am using this event to benefit an organization in my community that promotes healing and provides protection from abuse through education and expert care for children and their families. The Children's Center of the Antelope Valley. So we have a soft goal of $448, but I know with your help that can easily be surpassed. So how can you help? Well, the first thing is donate. Every little bit helps. There is no amount too small, no amount too big. But I know we are going through challenging times and not many people have the funds to donate, and that's okay. Another thing you could do is share the link. It will be in the description below. Share the link with your friends, your family, anybody you could think of who might find this fundraiser interesting and maybe it might touch their heart. Another way you could help is you could join me. You could join me virtually. You could do your own 4x4x48. You don't have to run every 4, you don't have to run the whole time. You could walk, you can exercise every 4 hours. Do whatever fits your fitness level and join me every 4 hours and tag Run for Grace on Instagram so we could see you're doing this and we could cheer you on virtually. Okay, so this fundraiser is going to be from February 15th all the way to March 15th. And this is going to be a 4-part series on my channel. This is the first of those 4. The next 2 will be details surrounding the fundraising and my training in the details of the 4x4x48. And the last episode will be concluded by me finishing the 4x4x48 and that whole weekend. So that should be fun to see. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do that so you don't miss any of those episodes. I'd be honored to have you join me on this journey. I am Anthony. I am a advocate against child abuse who is a victim, a survivor who is thriving through life, and I'm also running for my best life, one step at a time.